Okay, had a request to show the Glock 26, the Springfield XDS 9, and the Shadow in 9mm. It's a 1911 made by STI. First thing we're going to do is just check these, make sure they're clear. Magazines empty. That one's clear. Magazine's empty. That one's clear. Magazine's empty. And that one's clear. Okay. Everything's clear. Good to go. Alright, so in the last video I did, it was more so just looking real quick at the Springfield and the 1911 that I got here. Now we're going to show the thickness of the Glock 26. This one I've had cerakoted. It's a flat dark earth color, more of a brown than like a Glock standard OD is. This one, just real quick, we'll just run through some of the features on it that I've done. It's got night sights, so it's kind of a blacked out rear almost with the 2-dot sight in the rear, and then a white front dot with a tritium insert in that as well. This side, not necessarily great for concealed carry, might end up popping the magazine out, but it's an extended mag release and extended slide stop lever. Nothing trigger wise on my other Glocks. I've got some trigger work done. But anyway, set that one there, give you an idea of the thickness versus the XDS, which is a lot thinner. This one's less than an inch thick versus this one being a little hefty. So you've got a good bit of thickness there. I don't have my calipers, they're upstairs. Anyway, you can see how thick the double stack mag is versus the single stack. The Glock holds 10 plus 1. The Springfield only holds 7 plus 1. You can get the extended plate where it makes it about that much longer. You can't see that. About an inch or so longer. Ends up being a full-size frame, so not a great benefit there. Concealability, when you got this in the waistband versus this one, huge difference. This feels like you're carrying a block. This one just goes right away, you can't feel it. Then we got the 1911, which is the in-between. Longer grip length, but definitely thinner than the Glock. Do this to give you an idea of grip length. Set the 1911 down. So you've got a longer barrel on the Glock, shorter frame, thicker frame. The officer size 1911 has the longest frame out of the three. You've got 8 rounds, 8 plus 1 in this one, so not losing a whole lot over the Glock. You're losing a couple rounds capability. Then we've got the Springfield. Let's see if I can stack them up. So there you've got a little bit of difference. You can tell the Glock, Springfield, and then the Shadow there at the bottom. They're not going to stay if I let them slide, but definitely a big thickness difference when it comes to the Glock and the Springfield. With the non-bevel grips on the 1911, it's not near as thin from what it looks like. The Glock magazine is about the same thickness as the bottom of the grips, but they thin out more in the actual part where you hang on to, so that's not a huge deal. That's not hanging out too bad. Glock magazine, little guy, short and fat. price difference. Probably know what a Glock costs, about $515 plus tax, thereabouts. 600-ish plus tax for the XDS 9mm, somewhere 13 to 1400 with tax, depending on what you find for the Shadow. Different brands, different types of applications. When it comes to 1911, you got your single action versus your Glocks. You have a striker fired with the safety triggers. These, if you drop them, they're not going to go off. They have a drop safety in them. They've also, the Glock has 3 safety mechanisms in it. Striker block and the trigger block and one other thing in there. The Springfield has the grip safety as well as those other. Not exactly sure if it has the same type of safeties as a Glock. I would imagine it would, since it's a polymer pistol. You've got the trigger safety on that one. And then for the 1911, you've got your manual thumb safety and your grip safety. So nothing internal as far as I know. Types, they're all meant for concealed carry. All of them would work well. You'd probably end up having a little bit more discomfort with the wider Glock here. You'd probably end up having to have either a slightly larger pant size, or you just have to work around the thickness of it. The XDS really does fit nicely in the waistband. It's got, if you've got some type of concealment rig, whether it be real tight to the body or like this one here, this is a crossbreed. This is the mini tuck. You've got a mix of leather and Kydex. This one works really well. Carry it about 4 o'clock position. Fits in nice. Rides a little higher when it comes to actually on the body, but that works out nicely when you go to grab for it. You can get a good grip on it versus some of the other ones. Ride a little lower, but you might not necessarily be able to get all the way around on the grip. So this is a nice holster for it. Works out well for hanging on your belt. Doesn't seem too heavy, not too uncomfortable. Pretty thin. You've got less than an inch for the gun and then a little bit extra for the leather itself. But other than that, pretty good package deal there. Pretty concealable, pretty comfortable. I've added just on these some felt strips so that it's a little more quiet. You end up having this rub on the metal on the leather ends up rubbing, and that kind of squeaks some, so you just take and add some felt to it. But overall, there's a quick look at 3 different carry guns. The STI Shadow in 9mm, the Springfield XDS in 9mm, and the Glock 26 in 9mm.